Here's the thing nobody saw coming. 6 months ago, folks in Washington were gearing up for a real fight with New Delhi. Talk of trade wars, sanctions on the table. Trump's team, they were coming out swinging. India had to pick a side. They said ours or nothing. Looked like a showdown was right around the corner. But take a look at what's happening now. The same people who were talking punishment are suddenly talking partnership. Big business deals on the horizon. And after months of dragging their feet, Washington rushed to send a top diplomat back to India. That's not a small move. That's a full reversal. So what changed? Why drop the tough talk and start looking for friendship? Here's the deal. It wasn't India that changed. New Delhi kept on doing exactly what it was doing, still buying Russian oil at discount prices, still holding back American products with high tariffs, still keeping its options open instead of signing up for one team. Their playbook never shifted. The change came from Washington. And when the most powerful nation on earth changes course this fast, it's not because they woke up one morning feeling generous. It's because the first plan wasn't working. They've been solid of bigger messes than they expected. That's what we're digging into today, why America blinked first, why India's got more leverage than folks realize, and why this moment could reshape the way the world does business. Let's roll it back to the beginning. When Trump came back, we all knew what the slogan meant: America first, all over again. For countries like India, that meant one thing: fall in line or pay the price, and that price hit right away. Tariffs slapped on Indian exports. Steel, textiles, chemicals, boom, 25% cost increase overnight. Companies back in India wiped out profits. Workers lost jobs. Industries couldn't keep up in America's market anymore. And that wasn't even the biggest blow. Washington went after India's lifeline, energy. They put a 25% tax on Russian oil India was buying. And for a nation that has to import most of its oil, that was a gut punch. See, cheap Russian crude was helping keep gas affordable for over 1 billion people. Take that away and everything in India gets more expensive. Trump's calculation was simple: cut Moscow off, starve their war chest, force India to join our side. But from India's point of view, that sounded like raise prices on your people so we feel better. And folks, that doesn't sell. Ordinary Indians were asking, why should we pay more at the pump for someone else's war? And here's where it gets worse. While America was making threats, we didn't even have an ambassador in New Delhi. No one high level to explain what the heck we were doing, no one to smooth things over. Think about that. Picking a fight with the world's biggest democracy and leaving the seat empty. Meanwhile, sent their top brass. Russia kept signing energy deals. Big regional meetings got set up with India at the table, and the U.S. left out. While Washington was missing, others were moving in. That was the real mistake. Not just the taxes, not just the threats. The mistake was assuming India would fold, that if you squeeze hard enough, New Delhi would bend. But that thinking was dead wrong. And then almost overnight, things flipped. The harsh rhetoric softened. Threats turned into negotiations. Demands became requests. What happened? A few things all at once. First, Trump met Putin in Alaska. That shocked allies in Europe and shook the foreign policy world. But here's the key after that meeting: America eased up on India. Like someone finally realized you can't fight everyone all at once. Second, India didn't blink. After months of pressure, they kept right on buying Russian oil, protecting their own companies, refusing to be bullied, and they were loud about it. Confident, that sent a message back to Washington, India wasn't going to be pushed around. Third, the rest of the world filled the gap. China's foreign minister flew to New Delhi for talks. Russia rolled out fresh energy deals. Regional forums put India front and center alongside powers like China and Russia. And every day America stayed absent, competitors got stronger. Washington's language shifted. Suddenly, no more yelling about unfair trade. Now it was talk of cooperation, solutions. That's Washington. Speak for, we need a new plan because the old one's blowing up in our face. And then came the clearest sign: rushing to send an ambassador. Not just any diplomat, but Sergio Gore, one of Trump's closest people. That's not routine. That's a 5-alarm fire response. Why so sudden? Because staying tough was starting to backfire. Every angry statement pushed India further away. Every day without presence in New Delhi meant China and Russia gained ground. And here's the map. Folks, America's whole plan to contain China needs allies across Asia, Japan, Australia, they're in, but they're far from the heart of the action. India is sitting right in the middle of the Indian Ocean, where half the world's trade sails through. Lose India, and the plan falls apart. Washington finally got the memo. You can't counter China without India, and you can't get India on your side by threatening them. Now, here's the fascinating part. India has more leverage in this game than people give credit for. And right now, that leverage is peaking. Think about it. America isn't changing course out of kindness. They're changing because they have to. China's rising fast. Russia's not backing down. Europe's split and distracted. And right in the middle is India, fastest growing big economy, biggest population and a democracy that can talk to everybody without being tied down. That's real power. Let's break down why India holds so many cards. Geography, India controls the center of the Indian Ocean, the crossroads of global trade. Markets, India's middle class could reach 500 million. That's gold for companies like Apple, Amazon, Walmart. Energy, India is one of the top buyers worldwide today. It's Russian oil. Tomorrow, it could be American gas. That bargaining chip is worth billions. Military, India's Navy owns the Indian Ocean. Their army pressures China from the south while we do it from the east. No India, no strategy. Diplomacy, India can sit with us, Japan, and Australia one day, then turn around and sit with Russia and China the next. No one else can bridge like that. So what does all that mean? It means India shouldn't take Washington's softer tone as a gift. It's recognition. Recognition that they're too important to lose. Now's the time for New Delhi to cash in, push for lower tariffs, better tech sharing, more investment, a partnership built on respect for independence. And India knows it. They're not waiting around. They're signing new deals with Japan, the Middle East, Europe, right as Washington's trying to reel them back in. That's no coincidence. Each deal says, we've got options. So if you want us, make it worth it. Look at defense. For years, America tried selling weapons without sharing the crown jewels of technology. Now, India is saying, if you want our business, we want the whole package. That's negotiation, not submission. And that's the shift, because the truth is America needs India as much, maybe more than India needs America. For the first time, Washington is showing they know it. India's economy is already fifth biggest. In a few years, it'll be third. That's power. And here's the kicker. India's growth no longer depends on us. They've built ties with Europe, China, the Middle East. Losing us would sting, but it wouldn't crush them. Meanwhile, our own companies, Google, Walmart, Apple, are begging for India's market. And when business speaks in Washington, politicians listen. India also watched how China handled U.S. pressure. They learn to take the hits, diversify, keep growing. Eventually, America comes back to the table. That playbook works. But India's got an edge. It's a democracy with cultural ties to the West. They're not out to replace America. They're out to be treated as equals. And the Pentagon knows this. They've been sounding alarms. We can't lose India. China's expanding its navy, building bases. Without India, the whole balancing act collapses. Military necessity beat out trade squabbles. So where are we now? Let's be honest. This isn't Trump suddenly becoming India's best friend. This is America realizing the old approach doesn't work. India can say no. India can absorb pressure. India is too connected to be boxed in. That's a shift in global power. For America, it means treating India like a partner, not a junior. For India, it validates their strategy. Multi-alignment works, saying no works, playing your own game works. But let's be clear, this softer tone isn't permanent. If India pushes too far, gets too cozy with China or Russia, the pressure will return. And if America finds another workaround, attitudes could flip again. The challenge for India is to lock in long-term gains now, trade, tech investments, while the window's open. Because this isn't just about U.S.-India ties. It's about India stepping onto the global stage as a power that doesn't take orders. It sets terms. And other countries are watching. Brazil, Indonesia, Turkey, they see India holding its ground and forcing Washington to adjust. And they're learning. Instead of two rigid camps, we may see a world of independence, sometimes cooperating, sometimes competing. That's a new model. China's watching closely, Russia too. They'd love to see U.S.-India ties crumble. That's why Trump's move to send an ambassador before big summits with China